Good afternoon and welcome to Compete and Win Online. Today's presentation will discuss the importance of using search engine optimization as part of your marketing and enrollment strategy, and how SEO-driven work can really help your brand boost its presence online and reach its target audiences. Before we begin, I would like to introduce today's presenters. I am Denita Rakitska, Principal Marketing Strategist at Blackboard Student Success, and I'm very excited to share the stage today with Robert Conrad, Director of Communications at Syracuse University College of Law, and Martin Walls, Communications Manager, also at Syracuse University College of Law. Gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining me today. In 2018, you were part of the team tasked with launching a brand new, first of its kind online law program. Rob, would you please introduce us to Syracuse University College of Law, the program, and really how you came to explore marketing and enrollment partnerships?
Certainly, thank you, Denitza. Again, we are with Syracuse University College of Law. The law school is attached to Syracuse University, a R1 research institution located here in central New York. We have students at the university from all over the world coming here to learn in various programs. The law school itself is wrapping up the 125th year of providing legal education this year. Throughout that time, we've educated everything from lawyers to entrepreneurs to judges to nonprofit leaders, authors. We have a very diverse background in producing alumni. A little bit more about the College of Law. We have a couple core programs. We have a JD residential program, a LLM in American law program that is for foreign trained lawyers, and an SJD program, which is a doctorate level law degree. 7 centers and institutes. The core leading expertise we have is in national security law, disability law, and technology commercialization law there. Right now we have 634 total students enrolled from 40 states and 40 countries. The average age of a JD residential student is still pretty young, it's 24. It's mostly folks right out of undergrad or a year or so out of college, and our online GED students tend to be a bit older, and that is not surprising. Market trends. Law school is a highly competitive higher education market. There are just over 200 law schools in the nation. Most of them teach basically the same courses and the same manners as have been done for hundreds of years. It hasn't changed much if you look at historical documents that we have on hand, the courses and the methods of teaching from 125 years ago. But as with everything else, we are seeing a change in that with the ongoing improvement and technological abilities with online learning. We started to see the legal education industry kick the tires on online legal education. Part of the issue is that the accreditation body for law schools, the American Bar Association, does not recognize more than a handful of online credits as accounting to your JD. But again, looking at the technology that is available now for online learning, some schools, us being the second one in the country, applied to the American Bar Association to say, let us teach online in a, what's the right word, a temporary or a provisional manner. There was one other law school that had been online. The difference between the program we developed and their program was our program had a in-person or a real-time live remote class experience attached to every class. It wasn't just canned recordings or readings. It was also giving the opportunity to be in a law class just on a computer screen. So as we were working through getting the right acquiescence from the American Bar Association, we continued to develop the program. We looked into why a student would want to do this type of degree. And there were some challenges to being in law school that stopped people from even going before even taking the LSAT. You have to be in the same place for 3 years at least, typically. If you have any other commitments beside learning, it's very difficult to attend law school. And there's the need for being remote for other reasons, that not for people that are disabled, or it's not easy to get to a campus. So that's why the research continued to show that there was a preference and a need for an online Juris Doctor program. It would allow people to keep working if they were working, keep being a caregiver if they were a caregiver. And for example, if you're in the military, and you don't have the ability to stay in one place for 3 years, this would solve that challenge for you. So we launched the JD Interactive program. It's we don't see this as a different program from a residential degree, because the students in both the residential program and the interactive program get the same degree, same admission standards, same academic standards, same professors. It's just taught at a little different pace and a different modality, but it's really just another way of taking a JD. The other aspect that we have in this is we offer 6 short residencies, some here in Syracuse and some in other places. And short probably mean a week long. And there are experiential learning opportunities through externships that are part of the program as well. Again, some of the challenges, even though people were kind of looking into these types of programs, it is a brand new type of online learning for legal education. There's a lot of skepticism from the legal profession, other law schools. So we had to overcome that as well, that you would think that we wouldn't be getting high quality, high caliber students. As we were seeing this program get launched, we knew that things were going to change and we were going to get competitors in this space very quickly. And that's what it took about a year or so, but after a year of launching, we did see additional law schools launch similar programs to try and capture that growing marketplace.
Rob, thank you so much for setting up the stage. I think hopefully the audience is getting a really good sense of how ready the market was for a unique program like JD Interactive, but also the challenges that you were starting to face, especially with that competition. I think it's really important to note that also with competition, the other factor to note here are changing student preferences and behaviors. You spoke to this. And it's really interesting that studies on online behaviors from the last 5 years are showing that those really important life-defining purchases, if you will, one of these is obviously applying to a college degree or applying to a professional degree like a law program. They're starting with a search. So 93% of all big important life-defining purchases are beginning with a quick search online. Yet at the same time, we're seeing that more than 75% of all searchers never click past the first page of a search result, um, of a search engine. So it really, the competition, not just from other institutions, but the competition online, right, to be seen on that page one is very, very steep. So understanding this digital reality, we really recommend that to be competitive, higher education institutions need a diversified, a multimodal strategy for marketing and enrollment. Really a strategy that can leverage various channels, different forms of communication, and tailored messaging. Tailored messaging that can drive engagement and at the same time conversion at every single stage of that engagement. So the secret to why such detailed multimodal strategies work lies in the fact that they unify the pillars of modern search, namely organic and paid. So paid campaigns are really ideal for driving immediate response and qualified leads in high volumes. But they're very often dependent on an institution being able to allocate an advertising specific budget. Organic campaigns and search engine optimization driven improvements to your website, however, don't usually require additional advertising dollars. And if done well, they really never stop working to generate awareness, to generate visibility, and an enrollment pipeline. In those terms, search engine optimization really lays the foundation for long-term, steady stream of organic traffic to your website and for converting that organic traffic to qualified leads. And we know that this combination of paid and organic in the context of a multi-model marketing strategy works because we've seen some amazing results from our partnership. Just in the first year of us partnering together, and I think it's important to remind our audience that we have been partners for just 2 years, so it hasn't been a very long time. But in the first year, we were able to use this idea of multimodal marketing strategy that combines paid and organic to exceed our leads projections by over 382%, to exceed our application projections for JD Interactive by 678%, to exceed our enrollment projections by over 327%. These are some impressive jumps. And we were able to generate 7 times the return on Syracuse University College of Law's overall investment in this partnership. I think it's also interesting to note that the advertising budget that the institution set, that alone generated 16 times the return on investment. So these strategies, these multimodal strategies definitely work. I think it's also interesting to note that in the first year of our partnership, we saw that 15% of all generated and nurtured leads were leads from organic sources. And this percent increased in the second year of our partnership to about 24%. So this is almost a quarter of all leads for fiscal year 20. And what's even more exciting is that when we observe these leads, we noticed that they were converting to enrollments at rates 3 to 6 times higher than some of the leads that were generated from paid advertising alone. And we are confident that the reason for this really lies in the strategic efforts your team made to optimize the program's website for search engines and for users. Now, the reason search engine and user experience optimizations to your website, to your program website, to your institution website are hugely important is because your website is the front gate to your brand. In that sense, it's also the largest recruiting tool at your disposal. Leads who come to your website, who go through its content, are already primed with higher levels of interest, and they're often further down their customer journey, ready to convert to enrollment. So by offering a pleasant, seamless experience on your website, you're guaranteed to capture their interest for longer, thus increasing the chances for enrollment conversion. So really, to summarize here, the message is that the experience leads have on your website creates a direct association to the experience they can expect to have with your institution overall. The better, the more pleasant, the more seamless that experience with the website is, the higher the chances become that you would delight your leads, delight them enough for them to want to continue engaging and ultimately convert to enrollments. And even better, become advocates for your brand way before they've ever been able to experience it. A delighted lead converts at higher rates, as evident from our experience here with your institution. Now, I know it sounds great, all of this, but it's also quite challenging to know where to start with search engine optimization. After all, tech companies' search engines are not forthcoming with how they organize the web experience. There are over 200 search ranking factors, some known and quite many unknown, and there are numerous public and not so public algorithm updates every year. So again, it can be really hard to know where to start. We at Blackboard recommend that every university brand focuses on 3 key areas. The first one is technical SEO. Technical SEO is really all about machines. It's about how search engines are finding, crawling, and indexing your website and web pages. Key elements to pay attention to here are the architecture of your website. Also the security of your website. How secure is it? Does it provide secure connection to visitors to leave their information, request more information about your programs? It's also important to pay attention to how fast your website loads its content. There's plenty of evidence and research showing that people were impatient. The slower a website loads, the faster people leave and look for other alternatives. It's also important to pay attention to the mobile experience of your website. Is it mobile optimized or simply mobile friendly? Duplicate content is important, broken and bad internal links, and whether or not you're really taking full advantage of your key HTML tags of your page in your page's headers. So those will be your title tags, your meta description tags, your H1s, canonicals. The second key area to focus on is keyword research. The goal for keyword research is to identify search terms for which your website both ranks and doesn't rank, and to design a strategy for both types of terms, which can help you join conversations prospective students are already having online. So in essence, the keyword research is all about finding the intent behind your audience's searches and meeting that intent through in-depth, fresh, high-quality content. Content that's on your homepage, on your program pages, in unique blogs that you may have created, on PPC-specific landing pages, in emails, on social media, and so on. It's really crucial to use keywords not just in the body of your web pages, but also in your page's URLs and in your header tags. It is especially important to optimize your page's metadata tags, so your page title and your meta description. It's important to infuse them with keywords-driven copy that's easy to read, that's inviting, that evokes curiosity, because that is how your pages will be displayed in a search engine, and that is how they would attract the right audiences. One thing to remember here also is that we need to always put ourselves in the shoes of our target students. It's really tempting and very easy for us as administrators and as leaders to use institutional type of language. But this is not how our students, especially the ones that we want to attract, think, and even more search online. Think about how often we use the word like institution in our conversations, on our websites, but students really never search for this term. Instead, they're looking for terms like college or school or university. So again, it's really important to think about your audiences and get to know them and how they would search for your programs or programs similar to yours. The final piece, and probably the one that is really, really the most important, is your content, both the visual and the verbal content. This is the stage where what we found out from technical SEO would meet the keyword research. This is where the findings about how machines and people search and digest information online are brought together to produce that high quality, relevant, in-depth content that answers frequently asked questions. This content should be fresh, it should be regularly updated with relevant keywords without overstuffing the copy with them. It should be easy to read, offer sense of warmth, of invitation. Don't forget to infuse calls to action, one primary call to action, and then no more than 2 secondary calls to action on a single page. Remember to use headings, well-optimized videos and images, infographics, flaticons, custom graphics. These are all great tools to help you keep your audience engaged. And the longer your audience is engaged, the more they stay and read and click through your content, the higher the chances become that they will not only request information now, but come back later and even apply. These engagement indicators are also used by search engines to scope how seamless and pleasant the user experience on your website is. So having given you this overview of the key areas that we recommend institutions focus on when starting with search engine optimizations, I would love to turn it to you, Martin. I know the JD Interactive experience and strategy were focused exactly on these 3 core areas. Would you mind sharing with us what your experience and was and the success that you saw from them?
Thank you, Denitsa. We at the Syracuse University College of Law understand the importance SEO plays in a comprehensive marketing and enrollment strategy. We constantly monitor and work towards improving our main website, of course, but that was incredibly critical for our new JD Interactive mini site. Blackboard has been instrumental in helping us to identify areas for improvement, and they've remained an engaged partner who monitors the health of our domains. In the last 2 years of our partnership, we at the College of Law have set up the following: Google Analytics, implemented SEO plugins, especially Yoast SEO Pro, which has since been recommended for WordPress websites by our university's central marketing team. We've used Blackboard and Yoast Insights to create unique SEO profiles for each key JDI web page, including the FAQ, Frequently Asked Questions page, which we find is one of the most visited. We've worked and continue to work with the JDI leadership team to adjust the JDI sitemap and copy to suit embedding keywords in natural language, while keeping the key concepts the JDI team needs to provide to its audience. We've also led ongoing improvements, especially focused on refreshing and adjusting copy as needed and updating website images with the required SEO keywords that Denitsa has talked about. And also important, alt text for accessibility. And these ongoing efforts have certainly paid off. For a very young and relatively small website, JDI's site now ranks on Google's first page for strategically selected keywords. This is hard to achieve even for established programs. In fact, from just about 111 keywords in 2018, our JDI website now ranks for more than 500 keywords in search positions ranging 1 through 100. And the number of keywords is continuing to grow. In the last month alone, we've seen a 1.3% increase in our keyword footprint. These keywords generate an average monthly organic traffic at around 2,400 users, and we estimate that more than 80% of these users come from non-branded terms that we rank for. If we had to compete for this traffic in Google AdWords, the associated traffic cost would exceed $12,000 a month, which is the average cost to rank and compete for these keywords in Google AdWords. In terms of traffic acquisition and growth, our site saw a 608% year-over-year increase in organic traffic after just 1 year of implementing SEO tactics in our marketing strategy. This year, the increase has continued, a 43% year-over-year growth. And the ongoing copy improvements are helping us to keep our site bounce rate steady and way below the industry average for higher education. In 2020 alone, we've celebrated a 12.7% decrease.
Martin, Rob, thank you kindly for sharing your experience with SEO with us. I think it's clear what important role it has played in the success of your team's marketing and enrollment approach for JDI. And I really hope that we've been able to convince our audience today that when strategically positioned and used, SEO can be the differentiator you need to be competitive in today's noisy digital world. I want to thank you. I want to thank our audience for joining us today. If you are among the session attendees and are interested in continuing the conversation, please stop by Blackboard's booth in the expo hall.